I heard somebody share a metaphor that really spoke to me and how I'm feeling in this moment right now as I prepare for a blizzard coming, as I prepare for the spiritual birthday party for Helen Keller in a couple of weeks, as I hold all the tensions of this moment, preparing for ICE to come to my community, for just all of the opportunities and all of the threats that seem to be bombarding me, and I'm sure many of us right now. But this metaphor, it really helped, and I wonder if it might help you. It was an invitation to compare our humanity, our civilization, our moment of life on this planet to a tree, specifically to the tree of life, which I know has a lot of significance for many of us. It definitely does for me. And to say that right now, in the lifespan of a tree, in the lifespan of the tree of life, humankind is kind of like an apple rotting on the ground. Now, that may not sound hopeful or comforting to you, but to me, it is incredibly supportive, because I feel myself right now to be very much like an apple rotting on the ground. Something is ended. Something has ended for our understanding of ourselves. And it's interesting, astrologically, there's a lot of people talking about how we are at this moment right now that is the end of a 6,000-year cycle, which I don't know much about astrology, but if you think about 6,000 years ago, that was like just before even any of the Bible was written. This was like just when human beings were maybe even just starting to experience like inner thought, like inner ideas, and oral traditions were forming. And this was before everything that has and is now our culture was emerging. Something's coming to an end. I feel it. I wonder if you feel it. And I feel like I am this apple rotting on the ground. Surrounded, as I reflected in my Substack last week, surrounded by systems that are breaking down and sort of showing their ugliness, that we're coming to see and release. And many of us, like a tree, like an apple, separated from the tree, rotting on the ground, feel totally alone, totally disconnected from the tree itself, from the source of life itself that created us. We feel like we're just totally alone, unaccountable to anyone else, unconnected to anyone else, unconnected to any source of life. We're just living this entirely materialistic existence, and it's destroying us. We're decaying nonetheless, and it's only painful, and it's only scary and frightening, and causes us to just grasp more and more. And in the midst of this decay is this seed where life is. Not only is there the seed, but there's this earth that's receiving us and full of life and nourishment and possibility. And we are that rotting apple right now, friends. I am that rotting apple. I am so happy to claim that identity, because it's the beginning of a new cycle that has the potential to be reformed and rebuilt and regrown with an entirely different model of life. We can do that. We can shift. We can change. We can release this identity that we've carried of kind of looking for external authorities and believing that violence is the way to create order and perfection. We can create something new. We can create something that honors the sacredness of every person and every being. And we are starting to create that, friends. I mean, I see signs of it everywhere. And I mean, is there any other way forward? And the trick is, and this is what I'm recognizing, this is why this metaphor is speaking to me so deeply, is the vestiges of the old are still in me, right? They're still breaking down, they're still rotting. And sometimes they want to just like come in and, well, okay, yes, let's have a new world and let's build it. Let's make it happen. And all of these old tendencies of it's my responsibility to make it happen, and we need a leader, and we need a plan, and we need to, we need to focus on material questions and answers, and it still comes in and tries to like take this rotting apple and like paste it back together with duct tape and just, a new tagline, but the same old, same old. And that's just not how this is going to go. And so to honor ourselves as the rotting apple on the ground is to just honor that something is happening. The source of life that is way powerful than any of us as individuals is actually bringing about something new. We are at the end, perhaps, of a 6,000-year cycle, ready for a whole new cycle, a whole new stage of evolution that's calling us to live differently. It's going to require a lot of things to break down. And really the best course of action as a rotting apple on the ground is to let the rotting parts rot, because they need to rot so that that seed can then be planted in the ground. And then let whatever is coming to sprout up. And we're probably all at different stages of that rotting apple. But my suspicion is we're all in the rotting apple. I don't know that any of us are still on the tree. And I'm not sure what stage I'm in. Sometimes I think I've been planted and something is getting ready to sprout. And this discomfort I feel is just the pain of that little sprout kind of breaking through the shell and coming through the ground. I'd like to believe that's where I am. Maybe all of us are in different parts of that process, all inside at the same time. But wherever you are, whatever you find yourself, if you're feeling like you're a mess, you're in good company. Because mess is what's needed for decomposition to occur and for new life to occur. If things are confusing and if you're in tension, you're in good company. And if you're finding ground, if you're finding the nourishment of this dark, dark space, if you're opening up, I think you're on the right path. I think we're on the right path. There's so much that we're being called to let go of. And the other comforting point with the woman who shared this metaphor was she shared, it's the beginning of another 6,000-year cycle. So who knows how much of this is going to occur in my lifetime. Maybe my only job is to decompose and let things decompose and trust in that seed and within. Maybe I'm not meant to sprout. I don't know. I don't know what my next 50 years will hold. Should I live to almost 100? But whatever is to come, it is holy, it is sacred, it is transformational. It is in all of us to do, because we are all a part of this greater whole. And it's good. It's life. It's the work we have been called to. And I today am, I've been feeling a mess for quite a while, and today I feel actually a little lighter, a little more open, in large part because of this metaphor that I was given, and recognizing that my work is just to be who I am and what I am, and to accept it, to accept the sacredness that is in the midst of it, and to not try to put on any facade of perfection, to not look for any, answer out, to not try to fix myself or anyone else, but to just be as I am, and to trust that there's sacredness in who I am and what I'm experiencing. And if I'm experiencing grief and rage, it's probably for a reason. If I'm experiencing tension and depression, it's probably there's something in there for me. There's something in there in this stage of breaking down and reforming. And I'm not alone. And I pray that more of us will come together and speak our truth so that we can all feel less alone when we start to feel like a decaying apple, all alone, separate from life. We need to break down that belief and that fear. So friends, there's my note. There's my uncomfortable note on this Sunday morning. And I pray that you are finding the seed, recognizing that you have a seed that is alive in you, even as many things break down, that is eternally alive, and that you are finding some comfort in that as we go through this incredible time of transformation and change. All right, friends, be well.